massive story came up from Barcelona yesterday evening that Nico Williams could potentially be joining Barcelona this summer. Something which is more likely compared to what it was last summer and last season. It all happened within literally a couple of hours. It first started with the news coming out that Deco met Nico Williams' agent. That, of course, is different because Barcelona looked at Nico Williams. Nico Williams was one of the options to joining Barcelona because Barcelona's looking for a left winger. And there's so many options. Rafa Leao, Luis Diaz, which at one point was the heavy favourite to join Barcelona compared to what Nico Williams. I felt like the news of Nico Williams, it had dried down, but not yesterday. Yesterday, it went to another surface. One, Deco met with him. And what the agent of Nico Williams said is that, listen, Deco was basically trying to reassure Nico Williams and his agent and his camp and his family that, bro, the registration issues, don't worry about it. Last year, it was an issue. Last year, Nico Williams was hesitant in joining Barcelona because he knew there might be some complication with the register, similar to what we saw with Dani Olmo. This time, Nico, we all know, prefers Barcelona over any other move. His best friend plays there. His second best friend in Bolde plays there. His Spanish teammate in Pedri, Gavi, Fermin, Ferran all plays there. So Nico wants Barcelona more than any other move. He just rejected Bayern Munich. Bayern wanted him, but he said no to Bayern. He doesn't want to go to Germany, different country, different language, different culture. He wants to stay local as possible. And Barcelona is now, of course, exploring the option. But then, the person who changed everything, the person who literally, the possibility became a likely scenario, Lamine Yamal dropped it on the story. Straight away, dropped on the story. You can say it's a hint. You can say it's a subtle, attempt to Deco and Laporte to basically make sure I want it done. Or maybe he knows more than anyone else. Maybe he knows that this is as agreed and they're just trying to give a hint out to the whole world. But listen, the moment he posted this, the news then came one by one by one. First, it was breaking news. Nico Williams' agent has informed Deco after he met with him that the player is crazy about joining Barcelona. He's even willing to join without asking for any guarantees this time. Last year, Nico Williams made some guarantees. He made basically some stipulation. I want to come to Barcelona under certain conditions. One, I want you to increase my salary. Barca offered him a specific amount. Salary-wise, Nico Williams said, nah, I want more. Secondly is I want to start every single game. Thirdly is X, Y, and Z. But this time around, he's basically wanting to join without any sort of guarantees. And that includes, which is the biggest thing for Barcelona, is the wages. He is now willing to accept what Barcelona offered him last year in 12 million gross pay per year or per week, whatever. He is now, compared to what it was last year, because when Barca offered him this last year, Nico Williams said no. He is now pretty much reducing his wage demands because he wants to join. But the biggest killer and the biggest basically indicator that this could potentially happen is the fact that Hansi Flick spoke to Nico Williams. They had a chat. They spoke about it. They spoke about the possibilities. They spoke about where he could potentially fit in. And now it is looking like a very, very strong possibility that Nico Williams will be joining Barcelona. Let's talk about it on so many different ways. Yeah. First of all, the signing is what Barcelona wants and is what Barcelona needs. If I speak it from a neutral standpoint, Barcelona, let's not look at it in so many different ways. There is a couple positions which they need to make sure they get, and left wing being one of them. The reason why I felt like last season there was so much emphasis on Lamine Yamal and Rafinha, and you could see it towards the end of the season. Rafinha's numbers went a bit down. Lamine numbers went a bit high because he had to. It's because they had no other option where to play. They were the only two options, playing and on the bench. Barca had no squad depth. There was no one to replace Lamine Yamal. There was no one to replace Rafinha. If someone was tired, if someone needed a bit of rest, there was no other option. The other option you had is what Fermin, to put him on the left or right. Ferran Torres, to put him on the left or right. Gavi, to put him on the left or right. Or someone Paul Victor, who isn't a left winger. Who else? Who else was it? Pablo Torre, who isn't a left winger. So they lacked, I think everyone knew last season, Barca lacked squad rotations on the wing position. Nico Williams will provide you with that. Nico Williams not only is coming to be the squad rotation, is actually going to come in to start on the left-hand side. Barcelona now have a natural left winger. Rafinha, as much as he's played on the left-hand side, is not a natural left winger for me. And Rafinha, his best two positions, when he first came to Barcelona, at Leeds, he was playing on the right-hand side. Right-hand side was his natural position, so he can cut onto his left and shoot, which is what he was doing a lot at Leeds. But I always felt, especially last season and the year before, I always felt, and by the way, Xavi deserves a lot of respect to that, by the way. Hansi Flick, of course, deserves a lot of respect to what he's done to Rafinha this season and making him into a player that he is. The goals, the GAs, competing for the Ballon d'Or and X, Y, and Z. Xavi was the first person to actually introduce that role to Rafinha. Xavi understood having him on the touchline as a winger, it's not going to work out, especially with Rafinha's profile and his skills and his attributes. Rafinha is better closer to the box, because he, for me, is one of the best finishers in Barcelona. So he wants him to be closer to the box. That's why when Balde was healthy, Balde was controlling that whole left-hand side by himself, and Rafinha was doing a lot of role, roaming in behind Lewa, roaming in behind Dani Olmo, and playing like a 2-10s with Balde controlling that left-hand side. But now, having Nico Williams, Rafinha can stay predominantly behind the striker around that 10 position, drop deep when he needs to, but most importantly, make the runs in behind the defense. A Nico Williams or a Lamine Yamal, they don't want that. Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal, they want the ball literally in their feet. They are best when they have the ball. Rafinha is best when he makes the run in behind the defense. And now having Rafinha become the 10, whether it's him or Dani Olmo, I don't know. Most likely it will be Rafinha. Having the Nico, Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, it will be very dangerous for Barcelona next season. Barcelona has now literally ticked off one of the biggest liabilities in terms of position, and now they've got it now. Secondly, how does it look from a squad rotation point of view? For Barcelona, they now can bring Dani Olmo off the bench. Alexa Fermin off the bench. So in terms of squad rotation, there's a lot of them. Ferran has, to be fair, done well as a striker. So now Barcelona has ticked off one major position, and which it kind of, what it tells me, not only, by the way, have they ticked off a major position, is they've ticked off by bringing someone very good. Like someone who's got a good relationship with, as shown in the picture, Lamine Yamal, a Pedri, a Balde. Him and Balde, I think, will formulate a very good partnership on the left-hand side. And it will be kind of scary. I'll be real. From a Madrid perspective, this is not a player that I wanted to join Barcelona. I was hoping Luis Diaz to join Barcelona because I feel like Luis Diaz isn't the player that I think everyone thinks he is. I think he has declined massively since the knee injury. I think people confuse Luis Diaz. Liverpool Luis Diaz is very different to Colombia Luis Diaz. Colombia Luis Diaz is on drug fam, is on cocaine, is on a complete different level. But Liverpool Luis Diaz is very sluggish, very slow, and you could see he's been impacted by that knee injury that he had a year and a half ago. Nico Williams is completely different. He's more direct, way quicker, better at 1v1, and is better as a creator. Yes, his numbers, people look at his numbers. And I know some people will highlight that, especially neutrals or whether haters or trying to bias people. Oh, look, he's got 1 or 2, 3 goals in La Liga. Nico Williams is not about goals. Nico Williams coming to Barcelona. Barca don't want him to give them 20 goals or 30 goals. They already have Rafinha, Lewa, Lamine, whose now numbers is improving year by year. Nico Williams is there to, one, provide the spark, which, if Lamine can't do it, at least now have a Nico Williams. I always felt, to me, watching Barcelona last season, they only had two difference makers, Lamine Yamal and Pedri. Pedri's difference making is very different to a Lamine Yamal difference making. Like Lamine Yamal is an X factor. Give him the ball and he can score and create out of nothing. Pedri comes down to players moving for him. Rafinha isn't an X factor for me. Yes, he scored a lot of goals. Hear me out. He scored a lot of goals, but he isn't someone that you can give him the ball. Give him the ball and let me score out of nowhere. He's not that person. He needs the whole team to be ticking and then he can tick. Like Rafinha is a system player. Lamine Yamal, system or no system, he can get you a goal out of nowhere. Nico Williams is an X factor. Give him the ball and he can create out of nowhere. Now Barcelona has got now an X factor on the right hand side in Lamine Yamal and has got an X factor on the left hand side in Nico Williams. So now next season, if you thought this season they won the league, they won the Copa, next season they could potentially do a repeat or do more than that. And that's why this signing from a Madrid perspective is as you guys can see from the caption, oh no, because it's not good now. It is not. Okay, of course, we've signed, we've done our things, but looking at the rival, this is a massive sign for Barcelona. A massive signing. Now let's look at it from a possibility. Is there a way that for this signing or for this potential duo or for this potential transfer, will it flop? It will flop only, and I repeat, only if Hansi Flick decides to basically say to himself, who do I want to play as a 10? I personally think it will be Rafinha. It will be Rafinha. There's no way Rafinha, and it will come down to what Rafinha thinks, by the way. Because Rafinha, I don't think is someone with high ego. But how will he look at Barcelona, who've just signed, who, by the way, let's look from a Rafinha standpoint. I've played on the left this whole season. I've given you numbers. I've produced crazy amount of GAs. Crazy amount of chances. I lead highest GA in the whole world in terms of Champions League, X, Y, and Z. I am the best player. I got voted the best player in La Liga. How do I feel by you now bringing someone else in my position? Someone who most likely will be playing in my position on the left-hand side. You're not bringing a Nico Williams to be on the bench. You're not bringing a Nico Williams to be a rotation to Rafinha. You're bringing Nico Williams to start on the left-hand side. So it comes down to now what Rafinha mentally is going to think about this. Unless Hansi Flick sits him down, or Deco sits him down, or Laporte or wherever, and they give the reassurance to Rafinha, Rafinha, don't worry, we're not going to replace you, we're not going to bench you, we're going to actually put you in a different position. If that happens, what happens to a Dani Olmo, who Barcelona paid 65 million, 60 million, whatever, 60, 65, 70 million last season to bring in? A Dani Olmo who now will be playing off the bench mostly. This season, whenever he's played, he's done well. But the biggest problem that Dani Olmo this season is his injury track record. He always gets injured. He comes in, does very good, gets injured. Comes in, does very good, get injured. Now, Dani Olmo knows he's going to be on the bench. What does it do to Fermín Lopez, who Barcelona has rejected the idea of him going to Aston Villa? What does it do to a Gavi, who Gavi isn't going to be playing now, especially with Pedro and Frankie formulating that double pivot. And now Frankie's contract is going to be extended. And especially Gavi's not going to be playing in the pivot because Marc Bernal will be back and Casado is there. So it does create now players looking at themselves and looking at the signing and say, should I stay or should I go? Should I stay or should I go? Real Madrid had that issue. Of Kovacic. Kovacic was there, he left because he wanted more game time. So now Barcelona needs to be in that position. I think either Dani Olmo, I think Pablo Torre is gone. There's no way Barca will keep Pablo Torre. So either a Gavi, a Fermín, or Dani Olmo will look at each other and say, am I going to be getting minutes next season? And is it worth staying next season? That is just from a player standpoint. But from a Barcelona standpoint, this is the best move that they could have done. They shouldn't care what a Gavi thinks, what a Fermín thinks, or whatever. This, from a Barcelona standpoint, this is the missing piece of a puzzle. That's one more puzzle and that's for next season for a striker. or right back cover for Koundé, or left back cover for Abolde, or whatever, or goalkeeper. Barca's biggest two issues was the left wing position and the goalkeeper position. They have now basically ticked that off by signing Juan Garcia for 25 million and now Nico Williams for, I believe it will be, his release clause was just 60 million. If they are going to now sign one of the best left wingers, one of the best sparks, the X factors in Nico Williams, and one of the best goalkeepers, if not the best goalkeeper in La Liga this season, in Juan Garcia, they've basically now unticked two positions which they needed like this. And that's why Barcelona have started the season off very, very strongly. Signing Juan Garcia and signing Nico Williams. Now, again, it's not confirmed, it's not official, it's just a rumour, but at the moment, the rumour's looking like a strong possibility that Nico Williams will be going to Barcelona. Listen, as I said, it's a good move from Barcelona. Very good move from Barcelona. From Madrid's perspective, it will make the El Clásicos very interesting, because next season we'll be seeing a Nico Williams against Trent. We haven't seen that matchup before. I was looking forward to having Trent versus Rafinha, and I felt like that was a mismatch for me. I didn't feel like Rafinha could basically threaten Trent, but now a Nico Williams who's faster, more direct compared to Rafinha, and better 1v1 compared to Rafinha, it will provide a good matchup between Nico Williams and Trent. So next season is going to be interesting. Next season, the El Clásico is going to be interesting between Barcelona and Real Madrid. And this move right here has basically said to the whole world, watch out. If we won the league, won the Copa, won the Super Cup last season, next season is going to be even better. So next season, Barcelona have started it on the perfect note. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. By the way, shout out all of you guys. We've hit 75,000 subscribers. Don't worry, I will be doing a Q&A as promised. So in the next couple of days, I'll put it in my YouTube community to ask me any questions, and I'll make a Q&A video in the next week or so. But listen, thank you so much for all the love that you guys have been showing. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back tomorrow with a Club World Cup preview and why it is bigger than what you think.